basement. I can't seem to get a job. I don't like the status quo. I'm voting for something else.
I do not believe that. I cannot believe that.
Oh, Lord.
And the reason I think you believe it is because you don't want to believe that that's what's really motivating them.
In this explosive segment, watch as Megyn Kelly wrecks a woke black professor for his lunatic racial tirade. The fiery exchange unfolds as Megyn Kelly fearlessly calls out the woke narrative and exposes the flaws in the professor's unhinged racial arguments. From identity politics to divisive rhetoric, Megyn Kelly doesn't hold back, delivering her signature sharp wit and hard-hitting analysis. If you're tired of the woke agenda dominating cultural conversations, this viral takedown is a must-watch. Megyn Kelly proves once again why she's one of the leading voices in exposing woke ideology and its harmful impact on society. Stay tuned as this heated debate uncovers the truth behind the woke professor's agenda and the growing backlash against divisive racial tirades.
The sad thing is that there's this tug of war going on. You saw it on MSNBC when Eddie Glaude Jr. and Stephanie Ruhle tried to kind of disagree with Eddie Glaude Jr. that this was all about bigotry and racism and misogyny. And she said people voted for Trump because of inflation in their pocketbooks, their bank accounts. And he stepped back in and said, no, that's, basically said that she was out of touch as a white person. And Stephanie Ruhle said,
hold your thought on that. I'm going to play the soundbite and take it on the back end.
So good.
There's this sense, right, that whiteness, right, is under threat. The demographic shifts. The country isn't what all of these racially ambiguous children on Cheerios commercials are confusing the hell out of me. Right?
Eddie, a lot of people voted because their life's too damn expensive, and it was here, and it.
They voted for. You're telling me, Stephanie, that all of these people who believe that their lives are that bread is too high and eggs are too high, that they voted for a convicted felon. A guy who said we can grab the pea.
But I think there are tons of people that don't pay attention to, and I'm not defending it, don't pay attention to politics at all. But while we live in the most prosperous country in the world, people are saying life's not fair, I'm not doing well, my son's still living in the basement, I can't seem to get a job, I don't like the status quo, I'm voting for something else.
I do not believe that. I cannot believe that.
Oh, Lord.
And the reason I think you believe it is because you don't want to believe that that's what's really motivating them.
All right, let's break this down for a moment. What the professor just said raises some serious questions about how we approach discussions on race and identity. My suggestion here is to always analyze statements like this critically. Are they based on facts or are they emotional arguments? It's important to challenge ideas respectfully, but also to not shy away from pointing out when someone's argument lacks logic or is overly divisive. What do you think? Is this the kind of rhetoric that brings us closer to understanding, or does it push us further apart? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's get back to it.
What the country actually is, because if they believe it, they're going to have to confront what's in them.
Princeton University professor. Good Lord. Can I just say one thing? Like, all of it, even her, I'm not defending it. They're uninformed. I just want to concede that they're uninformed. I'm not defending it. They don't have the time to understand what a fascist, awful person he is. So they just voted for their pocketbook. And then Emily playing like the emotion. You don't get it. He's basically playing the race card. Like, you don't understand. You don't want to believe what the country is, but I have to live it. I would have laughed in his face. It would have been fun to laugh in his face. Honestly, one of these days I want to sit down. I have a lot of Black listeners and viewers to this show. I would love to see any one of them sitting across from this guy playing his empty race card over and over. It only worked against Stephanie Ruhle because she has currency with these white liberal elites who need you to feel that way. You need to accept Eddie's worldview in order to be invited back to the cocktail party. So she's got to be like, oh, yeah, I feel the same. We're terrible. But, it's just like they didn't do their homework. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, she's my favorite. I call her Stephanie What About Park Avenue Ruhle, because one time she actually challenged Biden for demonizing Park Avenue and said people who live on Park Avenue are Americans too, Mr. Biden. Amazing. But that is, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I would love to see a Black Trump supporter in conversation with Eddie Glaude Jr. because it is just so insulated. But this is what's happening in the party right now is you have like half of the voices saying that this was about misogyny and racism, and the problem was with America, not with Congress. Kamala Harris. Then you have the other half, people like John Favreau and Ezra Klein, who are now trying to say the Democratic Party is fundamentally out of touch. You have to start treating people like Joe Rogan, who's a median voter, who's not a conservative person at all. You have to start treating him with respect, and you have to start treating him seriously, and you have to start treating his listeners with respect. And those two positions, what I find amusing and also kind of disgusting about it is that the people who are playing the race and sex card are holding everyone else hostage and prisoner, because they, and by the way, everyone else who is now trying to course correct is responsible for their own hostage situation, because they emboldened and they promoted that bullshit for years and years and years. And now they're actually trying to course correct, and they can't because they're being held back by Eddie Glaude Jr., who said just the dumbest stuff right there and has been promoted to be on MSNBC like every minute of every day. If you look up at MSNBC, there he is, because they were supporting and promoting those ideas about American voters.
So right. Emily, that is so brilliant. That's exactly right. They painted their own prison cells, and now they're locked in them and can't figure out how to get out of them. And Eddie's on the outside like, that you're where you belong. Here's just a little bit more from this guy. The audience may remember we ran a soundbite of him in October where he almost broke down on MSNBC. Watch.
He's dangerous. He's dangerous to particular people, because we got to keep this troglodyte out of office. Because if he comes in, our babies are going to be in danger. Because remember, those young children are going to grow up with the memory of having to not go to school for the threat of bombs. And somebody told them that their moms and dads eat cats. They eat cats and dogs.
If you're finding this breakdown interesting and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Your support really helps me bring more discussions like this to the channel. Let's get back to the video.
Right. I'll get myself together, Claire.
Okay, take a minute. Deep breath.
Oh
well,
my
what
God.
about that? I understand.
Cry me a river.
Eddie, he did need a minute to find his balls. What's with the blubbering? Like, oh, they're going to have to. Oh, my God. The bomb threats were bullshit from a foreign country. Of course, they're talking about Springfield, Ohio, in the wake of the dogs and cats thing. This is a card. This is a manipulation, Eliana, by this guy to be on there like, I'm crying because I'm black, and the children were shamed by the dogs and cats thing. And here he is again now to Stephanie Ruhle, like, you just don't want to admit what America is to people like me. The whole point of this, and I made this point on Friday, is there's no excising that lunacy from the Democrat Party. They made the Eddie Glaude Juniors, and they're going to have to live with the Eddie Glaude Juniors. And I don't know what their future looks like, but they cannot coexist in the same party if they try to take out their fealty to identity politics.
All right, that's my take on this heated exchange. What do you think? Was Megyn Kelly spot on, or do you see it differently? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.